On this episode, the two missions. Hey everybody, this is the Quarter Show, and today we're talking about the two missions. Here with Davie Reitze, who's co-host today. Ben is actually out, and I've been out for a little bit, so I apologize for the delay in getting shows out, but we'll probably have two shows out today. And the first one we're talking about is the two missions. And the reason I have Davie on board is because Davie actually does sales here, but he also works with our team to essentially scout talent. And so he's a lot of experience with dealing with people and understanding the head game and understanding talent game and all that kind of stuff. So he heads up that activity here. So I thought I'd get him on the show.
Good to be here.
So, the two missions, and I have it written down here. There's two things, and this relates in sales, but also very much to you entrepreneurs out there. And to me, I kind of blend the two together. Sales, you kind of are an entrepreneur very much. And they blend together, such an entrepreneurial sport. And so here's the two missions, in my opinion, one is to know how to do what you're doing or how to get to where you want to go. You have to know how to get there. And we can talk about that on another show, but obviously you need to know how to get there, right? So you have to map out your vision and map out what you're doing, how to actually accomplish it. And you have to have a clear vision on how to do that. For us here at Richter, I've had that for the last 3 or 4 years, had a very clear vision on how to do that. But the next thing I want to talk about, and here's the thing with the show, is getting people to actually do it. And that's the kicker. It's one thing to know, and a lot of people read business books and study business and different things. They're still trying to figure out how to get there, right? What the vision is, what the future looks like, how to scale, all the different things, like how to do it, like what to do and how to do it. People are trying to figure that out, which I understand. Here we've essentially got a lot of that mapped out. We have clarity on how to do that. But the key thing is, even when you figure out and you've written down how to do what you want to do or where you want to go or what you're going to do, you have to figure out how to get the people to actually pull it off. And this is the part where it's like coaching comes into play, picking the best a talent, building an incredible team. The question is, how do you get the people to do what they need to do to pull off what you need to pull off? And this is the real kick of the thing you need to dive into. And I think that for us here, obviously part of it is building out the criteria for what you're looking for and what you consider to be an A player, an elite player. And it really does start with that. And I think if you look at any sales team or any sports team, you'll find that they're comprised of champion players. They're comprised of incredibly talented people. And you can't sort of hack that. There's no workaround on that. You have to find the best possible people that you can find. And then from there, you have to lean on overtraining, right? You have to overtrain, you have to overeducate, you have to over-support those people. Find the best players, find people who are not needy and just need, but the people who are the problem solvers. I was watching this movie.
Which one?
The Mars one.
The Martian?
The Martian.
Oh, Matt Damon.
Martian. I was on the plane the other day and I was traveling, and so I was watching that movie. And at the end of the movie, Matt Damon talks about, he goes, you have to solve one problem at a time. You go and solve that problem, and you solve the next problem, and you solve the next problem, and after a while, you get to come off that planet. You get to survive. You get to live.
I think part of that is that at the same time, just solving problems isn't necessarily going to get you your results. But if you look at him, for example, in The Martian, if we're going to talk about that, is that he was solving each problem with the goal in mind of, I'm going to get off this planet. I am not going to die here.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he had that sort of goal, you know what I mean? And he just oriented his entire modus operandi, if you will, and every little thing that he did to further that action of him getting off the planet. Even to how do I communicate with, people that are 30 million miles away with no equipment of any kind? But he just solved it
Yeah.
It was all with the goal of I am going home.
Yeah.
So, and I think like one thing for me, like when I look for people, and when I get asked to find certain people, the biggest thing that I look for are people that don't, and this might sound a little odd, right? But people that can listen to what you have to say, right? Or if you're going to tell them to do something, the amount of response time that it takes for them to then go do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, do they actually understand? You know what I'm saying? Can they then go solve that thing and come back right away?
Their level of sort of duplication of that thing and execution of that thing, and there's a lot of great people out there. But somebody who can solve their problem, going back to the problem solving thing, somebody who can solve problems and execute on the vision. So if you have a vision or a mission or an objectives or an order, they can duplicate it. They can solve the problems that they're going to run into. You're going to run into problems, right? You're going to run into rocky terrain. And the truth is you can't go around and answer every question for every single person. They need to know. They need to be able to figure it out and not have the hand holding and not be so needy, but they need to sort of tinker. The people need to be good enough where you have the vision articulated and they can figure it out and bring back to you and say, this is what I did, this is the outcome, this is what happened, whether it's in sales or anywhere in your organization. And that's a bit of an X quantity or X factor, that X value that is you have to have, right? These people have to have. And so their way to get there, a lot of people put too much stock in how to get where they're trying to go, or what should we do, or what's the vision, what's the future look like, which is fine. But the truth is the biggest kicker, the biggest thing that solves the problem is having the right players, having the right people, training those right people, and those people are good enough to execute on the vision and actually go and pull it off and get it done.
Yeah, I mean, like there is an element of, like let's just take sales for example, because that's what we do, where there are going to be like objections or reasons not to do something that are going to come up that maybe you haven't encountered, or maybe someone else hasn't encountered, and you're going to have to kind of think on your feet and figure out, how do I solve this? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like we can give you all the tools and all the data that we have, and we're going to hope that you can retain the most of it. But part of it is you have to be able to think kind of like almost one step ahead. Like you have to think, okay, he's probably going to say blah, or he's going to say this, or this is going to come up as a reason. So you have to automatically think like, okay, how do I solve this? You know what I'm saying? How do I then take this problem and make it into a solution? How do I turn this into a reason to buy or to do it? And you'll find with people that are are competent or would be considered A players. And one thing, by the way, you should do is if you're ever going to bring someone on, just to save yourself time and hassle, like I would just ask them straight up, like, are you an A player? And if they are, they will know what that means. And they'll just say, yes, I am.
And if they're not, they're going to hesitate. They're going to, you're going to, first of all, it's an odd question to ask. I get, we actually do that. And they're going to hesitate, right? Like if they're not, they're going to say, well, or whatever. But honestly, typically your A players are going to just be like, yes. Yeah, I'm definitely an A player, right? And certainly in sales. And you want that person. You want the person because they have to have the confidence to say yes, right? Because that's kind of an egotistical thing to answer.
Yeah.
Right? Like to say, yes, I'm an A player, that's kind of an egotistical thing, right? But the person you want, call it ego, call it whatever, they're confident enough to say that.
Yeah. And if you take like, getting people to sort of orient it to what you're doing, you can go out and you can send out like mission statements, or you can send out memos or whatever and things like that. Part of it is like, you actually got to make sure that they understand that, right? And that you have these people that will then expand upon that and build upon it and come up with their own way of making that goal sort of attainable. You know what I'm saying? Not like altering what it is, but really just sort of like being creative in how to, be on the same page as the company.
See it through to it done. So it's really critical. I mean, obviously, you're going to solve it in your own ways, but that's one thing I want to point out is like it's one thing to have a vision, it's one thing to have a path of what you're going to do, and it's entirely another thing to have the people and have them be able to actually execute it and pull it off. And that is where everything. That's how you get there. It's having the best team. It's having the best players that makes up the best team. Because it's not just the individual players, it's the best team. The A players that make a championship team, followed by great management and leadership to sort of take you there. And those people, if you're trying to figure out how to scale, that's how to scale. That's how to win. Is the A players to build an A team that can execute against the vision and actually pull it off. We got the battery light going off here, so we got to end the show, but we will have more coming at you. We're going to do a show today as well and some other things I want to go over. I hope you enjoy it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show right there, and we certainly appreciate you watching. More coming at you soon.